Well, hello, hello, and welcome to the Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar, helping you strengthen, condition, and optimize your mindset so that you can live your best life. Well, today it's exciting because I think, one of the things that, most of us want to have is better health, fitness. We kind of, are always on this roller coaster of a yo yo diet, up and down dieting. We lose the weight, but we tend to find it again, which can be so frustrating. So I brought on the expert to help us to really learn the mechanism behind a fitness mindset, what that truly means, and how you can have sustainable weight loss and really live a happier and healthier, fitful life. So how about we just jump into the conversation and say hello to my special guest today, Justin Yule. Justin is the president and chief transformation officer of the Transformation Club. So he's got amazing tools and tips and techniques that are really going to help us to foster, a strong health and fitness mindset. Justin, hello and welcome to the Mindset Mentor. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me. And I love that you said that the strength and conditioning of your mindset, because that fits right into fitness, right? Strength and conditioning. That's really what it is about. You've got to build up that muscle. I mean, the brain's obviously an organ, but we got to build it up. We got to strengthen it. And then there's also the conditioning factor, right? We think about endurance and be able to sustain and deal with everything that's going on in the world and maintain your goals. So you said, like with weight loss, losing weight, but then we find it again. We want to maintain it, sustain. So brain, same thing, brain set, mindset. You got to get strong and you have to condition. I love it.
Yes, thank you. We are getting strong today. So consider this your mindset and strengthening workout, everyone. We're going to get you moving. And even if you don't feel like it, listen, I know it can be challenging, right? When we get stuck in that sort of a mindset like, it's impossible. I can't get any better than this. I'm struggling. And, we kind of get really stuck in a rut. And then that creates that perpetual cycle of, oh my gosh, I can't. But we really need to focus on, hey, I can live my best life. I can feel healthy and really start to create the body that I desire, to feel good in the body that you have. Because I think one of the worst things, Justin, is when you don't feel physically healthy and your body is struggling to keep up, and it's a real challenge. So I would really love to help people to understand that no matter where they are, they can get better. They can move forward no matter how they're feeling, what's going on in the world. I know so many people have, been faced with so many challenges right now, given the pandemic and, all kinds of stuff that trickle down from that. But what I love, Justin, that you're doing as part of your company as well, is that you really work to, customize a particular combination of techniques for people so that you're meeting them where they're at. And where they're at is really, the perfect place to be, right? Because that's their reality.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And, just a couple things that were triggered with what you just said. Like one of the things we talk about what we can't do, right? And I challenge people to change that word from can't to choose. Because like when it comes to weight loss, like when people say, I just can't lose weight. Well, like the odds of you not being able to lose weight are like tens of thousands to one. Like unless you have some serious, like legitimate medical reason, everybody can lose weight, right? It's the issue of sustaining a exercise program, a nutrition program, sleep, stress reduction, all that kind of stuff. So it's not a can't, it's a choose, right? So if you can just replace that, I can't lose weight, I can't build my business, I can't, get stronger, I can't have whatever, it's you choose. And we really, that might sound harsh, but that's the mindset. And that's part of the mindset game is just when you switch that word, it kind of stings a little bit, doesn't it? It's like, ow, I choose. And you're like, no, I don't choose. No, you do. You choose to have that donut. You choose not to go work out, right? But then people go, well, I'm not motivated. I want to work out. I want to eat better, but I'm not motivated. And that motivation is, it's never going to come. Okay, it really isn't. As long as you sit around waiting for the motivation to take better care of yourself, you're going to be waiting a long time. And yes, sometimes you might get shocked into it. We see this a lot. Somebody gets a diagnosis, or somebody in their family gets a diagnosis, and like, oh my God, I got to take care of myself, right? But that motivation will be fleeting, right? What you need is not motivation; you need movement, right? You need to take the first move, right? You just need to do the thing you don't even want to do, like show up for that first workout, right? Sometimes you just have to make a commitment. Go sign up with a personal trainer, make a commitment, right? Get the first move, because when you string one move into another move, you begin to create momentum, right? And once you start to have momentum, you'll actually start to see results. And when you see results, guess what? You become motivated. So people have
Yes.
it backwards. They're leading, I want to be motivated, but you're not going to be motivated until after you get results, right?
Yeah.
Why would you be motivated to keep working out when you haven't even started yet?
Yeah, it makes absolute perfect sense. And I'm so glad that you broke it down that way, because I think we've all been there, and absolutely, yes, every single moment in life is a choice. We are choosing in every moment. And if when we become aware of this, then we have the opportunity to make much better, empowering choices, not choices that hold us back. And those choices that hold us back are certainly all limiting beliefs that we have, right? That are so deeply ingrained in our being that we actually are mostly completely unaware. But it's so important to, start to become aware of what our limitations are, our self limitations, the beliefs that we've picked up and adopted as truths, which are not realities, but we hold on to them as absolute truth, the truth of our reality. And, it's another sort of interesting point, to talk about when it comes to that is that, we also will look at our family, some of our family history, let's say our health history, and we'll say, well, I can't be healthy because in my family we have dot, 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 right? So they'll sort of name off all of these things. Or that, in my family, everybody was X amount of weight. And so it's really hard for me to lose weight, let's say. But it's a fixed belief that we have, right? Our fixed mindset. And so I love that sort of correlation of, expanding and opening the mindset to clear out some of those limiting beliefs, and also to start challenging, some of the family patterns and histories and what we're holding on to. So when you're working with your, clients, when they're coming in and they I'm certain that they all have sort of a fitness goal, something that they want to achieve, right? That got them there, right? They made a choice to come in to see you. So what kinds of beliefs do you see that you help to sort of unravel in terms of that, the self limitations as well as the family history?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's start with the family one first, because that's a big one. I got the bad genes, right? I got screwed in the gene. God did not hand me down the good genes, right? And a lot of people they use genes as, quite frankly, again, I come across a little blunt and harsh sometimes. It's a giant excuse, because if you actually look at the science of transformation, your genetics play a very small role in that.
Yeah.
Now, getting to that, are you going to be like supermodel shape or bodybuilder shape or bikini person? No, like that when you get to that level, it's genetics. But nobody is 50 pounds overweight or even 20 pounds overweight because of their genetics. Right? But you say, well, everybody in my family is overweight. Well, that's because nobody in your family has ever worked out consistently or ate healthy. Like you grew up eating plates of pasta and donuts and processed cereals and sugars and cookies and cakes like I did, right?
Yeah, sure.
So is it really your genetics, or if you actually look back at the behaviors of everybody in your family from generation to generation, like nobody's ever actually embraced having to work out, having to eat healthy. So it's not a genetic thing. So that is a limiting belief in and of itself. Now, of course, we can get deeper, as I know do in your show and in your work. So we go into mindset and limiting beliefs. It's a layering thing. So there's on the surface, there's a limiting belief of I can't lose weight. And that might be tied to what we just talked about. Or it's a limiting belief of, I'm not an athlete, right? Or, I was the smart one, not the fit one. Like those are kind of surface level limiting beliefs. And we can do the work around that just like you do, and uncovering the falsehood of those limiting beliefs and where do those limiting beliefs come from. But when you really start to peel the layer away, and this, when you're working with somebody on their limiting beliefs and they start to have those aha moments and they connect where that belief come from, they look back to a meaning they gave an experience back in childhood and they adopted this programming, and that's what they've been running through their whole life. And that's why they say that, well, I'm not an athlete, or I'm not meant to be fit, or what have you. But generally speaking, I would say 9 times out of 10, as we peel the layer away, the real limiting belief underneath is tied to some form of I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And quite frankly, it's like that in whether I'm working in my fitness business or I'm working with my entrepreneurs. It's the same thing. Right. We come down to that because that's the deep layering belief. So when I go to even somebody might see an ad for the Transformation Club, for example, right? But they don't really see it. It just flies right by them because what's actually going to recognize things on Facebook as an example. Well, it's all being driven by the lens that they're looking through, right? Their limiting beliefs. So even if they do see my ad, well, I can't do that. That's not for me. Or some excuse pops up like, I don't have time. Or like, now is not the right time when the kids get out of school or when the kids go off to school. There's always some reason. Every season there's an excuse. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too, kids are in school. Kids are out of school. There's always the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then because that's what's driving it. It's the lens that they're looking through. Right. When they do happen to, oh my God, I actually see, like truly see consciously the ad. Now they're in this conundrum of like, do I take action or do I not take action? Right. So now it's a conscious battle with their limiting beliefs. Right. But even when they do actually take action and then join, it's not like they're past that. Right. Because I saw this back in the health club days, and I used to make this, comment, like, just because you put a membership card in your back pocket doesn't mean you can burn fat on your ass. Like, you got to actually go do the work, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
The program isn't enough, right? So signing up for a business course, not enough, right? This, like, you can't just join a business course and expect because you paid the $8,000, now you're going to have a business.
Yeah.
But so many people think that's the case, right? And again, it's just their limiting beliefs. It's self-sabotage. It's a pattern. Right. So if you're constantly signing up for programs and not fulfilling them, what you have to understand is 2 things are happening. One, there's a limiting belief that keeps pulling you away. But the second thing is, and this is for every area of life, but we'll talk fitness because I see it every day, is quitting as a habit. Right. So if you've been that person who has done every weight loss program, you've joined this program, that program, this diet, that diet, and whether you've yo-yoed or not, up and down, or none of them have worked at all, if you actually go and look, it's like you get a couple of weeks in, a couple of months in, and then something happens, right? Which either you quit because now you're running into a self-identity crisis, because if you actually lose 20 pounds, who are you? Right? That's one. So we run into that kind of self-identity crisis. Or like, the water heater blows up and now you can't afford personal training anymore. Well, the water heater blew up to be congruent with your limiting belief of, I don't actually deserve these results. So I have to stop doing what got me there.
Yeah, you know what? This is such a deep and profound conversation, and I think it's really encouraging the listeners and the viewers to really start to challenge some of their thinking, some of their choices, some of their beliefs, and the past patterning. Take a look at your results. Your results are really key as to what's going on in your mindset. And if you're not enjoying those results, then it is time right now in this moment to make a choice, that you can be in a much better position and a much better place because you deserve, and that's one of the things, that we feel, when we have that unworthy belief, I'm not enough, I don't deserve, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, then it really starts to play tricks on, our on our lives. It's not going to propel you forward in a way that's going to serve you. It's going to, bring you more circumstances that are really going to make that your reality. So let's choose to switch that out and to really foster your best life. And listen, I get it because, growing up, I had so many limiting beliefs. I was stuck in lack and limitation and self-doubt and unworthiness and feeling unlovable. And it's not fun. And guess what? My results showed up that way, right? Until I was able to finally jump out of that, like to release those chains, because it is suffocating, right? And it's so freeing when you can just get beyond that.
Yeah, another identity thing I want to share, a lot of people in the weight loss have this struggle, is you actually identify with someone who loses and gains weight. Therefore, every time you lose weight, you have to gain it back because your identity is to ride the roller coaster.
Yes.
Right. So watch out. and you think like, wow, when you really step back, like, oh my God, like, yeah, if I'm not losing weight, then what am I doing? Right. And one of the things that we really try to help our people with is like, we need to have goals beyond weight loss. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we teach our clients, it's so different. We just had somebody recently say to my wife, who's my business partner, say, I've never heard this before from a trainer. It's like, you don't lose weight to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You get healthy and you no longer have a weight issue. Because if
Ooh.
you actually look at the body at the cellular level, if
Mm-hmm.
you are functioning the way you're supposed to be at the cellular level, health, you can't be overweight. It's not
Oh.
possible.
Okay, I love this. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that and understand sort of what that actually entails. We're going to take a break here on Sauga 960. I'm Tania Kolar. You listen to the Mindset Mentor, and my special guest today is Justin Yule, who is the CEO and president of the Transformation Club, and who's helping us really to understand, what it takes and how we can have a health and fitness mindset that's going to propel us forward to live our best life. So stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar, helping you cultivate your best life. And I hope you're having an absolutely phenomenal day. And are you feeling healthy is the question. Do you feel good? Do you feel great? Well, I hope yes. I hope absolutely you're doing amazing today. But if you're not, I really want you to pay attention because I've got a special guest on the show today who is helping us with our health and fitness mindset. And your health, your mindset around your health and fitness is really integral to how you're going to live your best life. And it's going to enable you to live your best life. And just before we took a break, Justin Yule, our guest today, who is the president and chief transformation officer of the Transformation Club, was talking about, health. And, it's not about getting healthy. He's got a really cool way to describe that. I'll let him, explain that again. But Justin, you were talking about health at the cellular level, and we can be healthy cellularly. There's no way that we're going to be overweight.
Yeah, that's the thing is when people are always focusing on the outside in, we need to focus on the inside out, right? So they
Mm.
look in the mirror, they step on a scale and they think, well, I'm overweight. I need to lose weight, or I'm unhappy with the way I look and feel. So I'm going to go ahead and lose weight. Or you go to your doctor and like, you really need to lose weight to get healthy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're borderline this, that, or the other thing. Like you need to go ahead and lose 30 pounds to get healthy. It's the wrong approach, right? It's if you are healthy, you can't be overweight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you approach this from an inside out standpoint, I want to get my body to be more healthy. It'll just release the excess weight. Okay.
Mm.
Now, keep in mind, definition of health is really important too, because like this is where some people get neurotic, like with their body fat composition. Like for some people, holding an extra 5, maybe 10 pounds of body fat is actually healthier for that individual than having like ripped 6-pack abs, for example.
Got it.
Right. That's where genetics come in. I talked about that a little bit earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
that's like the last like few percent.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who are, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus pounds overweight, we're not healthy. There's a health issue, right? So that just points to, and you might go to the doctor and all your blood work comes back fine. And he tells you your heart's beating the way it's supposed to. He's not getting deep enough. That's not what they're trained to do,
Yeah.
right? Something's not right in the hormones. Something's not right in the gut. If we do deeper blood panels, we're going to find stuff. The key piece to understand
Mm-hmm.
is if we get down to the cellular level of our body, we are made up of trillions of cells, right? And it's how those cells function that determine how we function,
Yeah.
our level of health, right? And if those cells are functioning properly, then our body is not going to be fat. It's not going to be overweight. It's not going to have heart disease. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
have Alzheimer's. It's not going to have cancer, right? It's not going to have any of these conditions. So rather than going from the outside in, I need to do a weight loss program. And here's the guy who sells weight loss,
Yeah.
right? The way we help people lose weight is we turn it around and say, okay, what do we got to do to get you healthy from the inside out? Stop focusing on dieting, stop focusing on excessive cardio, stop
Mm-hmm.
focusing on weight loss, and let's get you healthy.
Oh, okay. I love this. Such amazing, fascinating information. And, again, a really different way to approach looking at, fitness and health in a very, specific sense now. But yeah, it sounds amazing. So how do we do that? How do we actually get that body cellularly happy
Yeah. So I
and
mean,
to release the weight?
there's certain basic things that we can do, and then we can get more advanced.
Yeah.
So like we get down and deep with hormones
Yeah.
and gut health,
Mm-hmm.
and we go deep on that stuff. But like just honestly, a place to start, like if you want the most basic place to start, it's I mean that anybody can just do is water, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not drinking enough water a day, you're not healthy at the cellular level. I mean, 75% of your body is made up of water. We've got to get water transmitting in and out of the
Yeah.
cells. That's actually how communication happens in the body. Water is what the electricity conducts through,
Yeah.
right? So just being dehydrated a couple of percent will have a major impact on how you
Mm-hmm.
feel, how you perform. I mean, you think about an athlete, a couple percent could be the difference on the field or not, right? What
Yeah.
about just everyday life? Well, brain fog and functioning at work, right? So the most
Mm.
basic place, which I know it shocks everybody when we say this, like, this the whole, hey, drink, a half an ounce per pound of body weight, for example. If you weigh
Mm.
150 pounds, you just drink 75 ounces. People freak out about that. And then they go, well, actually, that's about a minimum. Most people need to be upwards of 100 ounces to a gallon of water a day.
Wow.
If you
Okay.
just did that,
Mm-hmm.
it would transform health in a significant way. Now, I'm not saying if you're the person who currently drinks 3 cups of coffee a day, 2 sodas, and maybe a glass of water. We've literally had clients come to us and say, I don't drink 8 ounces of water in a whole day.
Right.
I'm not going to have that person go drink a gallon of water,
Yeah.
right? And I go from
It's a
eight
little
ounces
extreme. Yeah, yeah.
to
Mhm.
16 ounces, right?
Yes, yes.
So this again, like everybody when it comes to weight loss, it's like, hey, I'm going to join a weight loss program. I'm going to go from eating a standard American diet of crap and not exercising to exercising 5-6 days a week, and I'm eating chicken, rice, and broccoli. Like that's the extreme.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. It doesn't work. So
Hmm.
even with something as simple as water or air, what do you mean? What do you mean air? Well, like you're breathing. Most people don't know how to breathe, right? So if I ask the listeners right now or the viewers right now, go ahead and take a really big inhale, right? Go ahead and do one, Tanya, and let it out. Now, here's the thing. If your chest rose, you're
Hmm.
not breathing correctly,
Ah, okay. Oh.
okay?
Hmm.
If that was actually kind of hard to do,
Hmm.
clearly you have some breathing issues.
Yeah.
Most people are chest breathers. They're very shallow breaths.
Yeah.
And which is ties to anxiety and stress and
Yeah.
overwhelm. So we start getting into that mindset stuff,
Yeah.
right? We want to breathe with our diaphragm. We want to breathe through our belly. So like
Belly.
put your hand on your belly and your hand on your
Yeah.
chest. Now take a deep breath. Don't let your chest rise. It's all in
Okay.
the belly. Big
Oh, that
difference.
was much better. Yeah. And listen, I
We
was
get a
guilty. I was guilty the first time around of that chest breathing. I've got some stress going on in my life like the rest of the planet, right? And we
Well, and
forget,
there's a
don't
couple
we?
of things. There's a couple of things to this.
Yeah.
Well, for one, the obviously the second breath, we were able to get a lot more air in. It's
Yes.
easy to get more air. We can actually take longer inhales and longer exhales that way, right? A lot of people are like, well, how do I do a 4-second breath and a 4-second hold and a 4-second breath? Like it's so hard. Well, because you're
Mm.
using your chest, not your belly. The other thing is like, just think of society. I don't want my belly to stick out,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So I'm going to breathe my chest. I'm going to lift my chest up,
Be
belly
proud.
in.
Hmm.
Right? And
Hmm.
that impacts our breathing. Well, what happens when we impact our breathing? We're not getting the oxygen into our cells. We're not getting the CO2 out. So just basic air and water, right? Those are two like things you would never think of. What's everybody want to go? Well, how much cardio should I do? What should my heart rate be? Right? Like you're not even breathing correctly or drinking correctly, right?
Yeah.
Air, water, so important. Then we can start getting into things like exercise and movement and what's the right type of exercise. And no, by the way, we won't get into this conversation here, but it's not a bunch of cardio, right?
Yeah.
Splash. If you want to lose weight, you need to lift weights,
Hmm.
right? That is the key because muscle is the organ of longevity. So with muscle is going to impact your metabolism. Super important to understand that. Muscle is the organ of longevity, as I said. We're talking about aging here, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And by the way, like, retirement age is what, 65, 72 now? Like, really? You're going to retire at 65? You probably have, if you take care of yourself, 40 more years to live.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, we need to think of things differently, as they say, the 60 is the new 40 or whatever,
Yeah.
however the saying goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the exercise portion, we talked about air, we talked about water. Let's now get into exercise. The type of exercise you choose is critical. And if you're focusing on health and you're focusing on the inside out to lose weight, well, then if you actually, when you put the pieces together, it makes a lot more sense that strength training is going to take priority to cardio. Not to say that cardio is bad, right? But what we see is you go to a big box health club and you see like the cardio center is completely full of people who are just randomly working out on a treadmill, elliptical, step mill, what have you.
Yeah.
And then the weight room is like empty, right?
Yeah.
Only the meatheads are in there.
Or the big, guys with the big giant muscles and nobody wants to go near them, right? Yeah.
Or we fear that that's what's going to happen if I go there.
Yes.
Like, understand. Yeah. Now we're getting into the genetic thing. Now we're getting into maybe some performance enhancement things. Now we're getting into very specialized training. Yeah. But like for the 47-year-old, 57-year-old mom that I train, like we're going to get strong from the inside out. We got to build that muscle. We got to build that metabolism. We got to get those hormones where we want them to be. And then, of course, we can go layer deeper. What's happening inside the gut, right?
Well, listen, the gut. Yeah, I mean, so much great information, and they say that the gut is like the second brain, right? So
100%.
really, really important. But there's so much great information, and I just want to, unpack a little bit. So you said water, air, water, and exercise, right? Really key. So I just want to touch on the water briefly for a moment. Obviously, very important to be hydrated. But is the type of water that we're drinking, does that actually have a factor into it? And I'll just give you an example. And I know my mother, who passed away many years ago, and she suffered from diabetes, and when she was told to drink water, more water, she decided to drink tonic water, right? I mean, that's soda, right? That's full of sugar. So obviously that's not the kind of water you're talking about, but even just, tap water versus spring water, bottled water, there's so many types of water on the market today. Does it impact our body?
100%. It's a great question. Even if you just look at the tap, like depending on where you live, like we ain't touching the tap where I am, right? So I definitely, in most places, it's not going to be tap. It's going to be probably getting towards spring. We look at the alkalinity of water, right? Alkaline versus acid. We want to be more on the alkaline side. We want our body to be more alkaline. That's important because like the standard American diet is very acidic, right? So we want to, and think of an acidic diet as just like shriveling up and wasting away your cells, your tissues, right?
Yeah.
We want to be more in the alkaline. That's where like vegetables come into play, right? They're very alkalizing to the body. Good water is going to do that. So that's where like an alkaline water comes into play. If you really want to take it to the next level, you do water ionization. There's machines that can do that. We have a whole house system, like, we have ionization in our house when we built our house because we looked at two things that were super important to us. We took care of the exercise, but we made sure that the air filtration system in our house was like top notch and the water system in our house was top notch.
Beautiful.
Right? Now, you might not be able to do that in your home or building a home, but like you can get, if you're going to go with something as basic as like a Brita, you can do that, right? It's not going to ionize or add things to the water, but it'll take a lot of the crap. It'll take the crap out. Just make sure that you are changing that filter very often, probably even more often than they recommend because stuff does build up. You start getting into more of like a Berkey, something a little bit more expensive. It's going to be a little bit better. And then you can get into higher levels of water machines that do ionization and things of that nature. So you're going to just go buy bottled water at the grocery store. Look for something that's going to be a little more alkaline.
Yeah, I mean, easy. It's on the label, but it's not on the front. Turn it around to the back and take a look. We want to be mindful of these things. So, great advice. I love that, because I think that small differences that we do have such a huge impact on our lives. And if that's something you're doing on a daily basis, imagine the compounding effect, and it's certainly important to foster that and stay hydrated, of course, be mindful of our breathing and get the exercise that we need. You talked about strength training, and how important that strength training is. So what's the kind of results that you've seen from some of your clients coming in who had never sort of even tried strength training, and we're maybe more on the cardio cycle,
Right.
right? The treadmills, the bikes at the machine, the lineups that, you're waiting for someone to jump off of that machine, right? So what kind of results have you seen, and what was the attitude when you introduced that type of fitness when it comes to like the strength training?
Yeah, a really great question. And we see this so much because so many people are coming more from that either group fitness class or cardio machine.
Hmm.
And they're just, whatever it is that triggered them to come see us. Maybe it was a referral. Maybe it was one of our ads, who knows? And they're like, I got to try something different. Well, I like this holistic approach. And because what I'm doing isn't working and I don't enjoy it either. Most people don't enjoy being on elliptical for 60 minutes watching TV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're distracted watching the TV because let's face it, being on the machine for 60 minutes sucks. So you need something to do, right?
Yeah.
So what we tend to see when people come to us is there might be a little bit of resistance, no pun intended, to doing resistance training because I'm not doing 60 minutes of like repetitive movement. I'm not like bouncing up and down like I might in a group fitness class. It might be slower, right? People who stick with us, they realize two things. One, holy crap, within a couple of just days or weeks, like I feel different, right? Some people are like, oh my God, I feel a little bit of muscle, but like something about me feels different. I don't know what it is yet, right? But then within a couple of weeks, it's like they really notice strength. They start to see inches remove. And interestingly enough, in the beginning, you might not see the scale move, but you'll see inches happen. So for example, my record is a woman who lost 3 inches off of her waistline before she even lost a pound.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
Right? Like
So
that's
she was
pretty
gaining
significant.
muscle and losing it where yeah.
So there's
Wow.
this change in the body that's happening, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, again, you can't just look at the scale, right? What's happening? Then
Yes.
of course the weight just flew off of her after that.
Wow.
But the things that they notice is obviously improvement in strength. Self-confidence starts to really go through the roof, more self-esteem, a different type of an energy and a different type of, and not just energy and like, well, I have more energy, but just an energy within the person, right?
Okay. Yeah.
They kind of exude a different energy, right? More confidence, more strength, more, they're just different. They don't feel as run down. So those are some of the things that you start to see, feel. And then, we have classic examples of somebody who is like always the cardio queen, lose the weight, gain the weight, lose the weight, gain the weight. And then they comes with us and like, they not only lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, but they're like, classic story is like, oh, I'm the same size I was or the same weight I was when I got married, 20 years ago, but I'm actually 2 sizes smaller because I'm shaped differently.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. So interesting. Now, we're going to pick up the conversation when we come back. We're going to take a short break here on the Mindset Mentor on Sauga 960. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with more Justin Yule. Welcome back to the Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar, helping you strengthen and condition your mindset. And this is your workout. Actually, it is your health and fitness workout today. My special guest is Justin Yule, who's joining me. He's a fitness expert. And of course, he is also the president and chief, I just want to make sure I get this right, chief transformation officer at the Transformation Club.
It's a fun made up title.
I love it. It's okay. It's all good, right? But listen, I mean, it's packed with a lot. It really gets to the point of that there's a transformation that ensues, right? When we take charge of our lives, when we choose to do something positive with our health and our fitness. And I love that, you have a really customized approach of helping people. And just before we took a break, you were touching on, some of the great benefits and the improvements, like energy that we see, not only the physical energy, but the self-esteem and the energy that comes from developing that. And I also wanted to add that I think that, when we can really foster better health and we start to work out and we're, making the effort, right, to get healthy, our sleep habits improve dramatically. And I think that's really important because the mind cannot function clearly. You cannot live your best life if you are sleep deprived. It's a massive change. And is that something that you see, Justin, with your clients?
It's so funny you bring that. That's another topic we talk quite a bit about is sleep.
Yeah.
I talk about that with my fitness clients and my entrepreneurs as well, because, in the entrepreneurial world, this, like that whole hustle and grind mentality gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Right. I'll sleep when after I achieve my dreams. Like, no, like you've got to sleep. Sleep is, we talked about air, we talked about water. Like if I'm going to talk about another big guy, right, it's going to be sleep. because that's where our body's going to repair. Like, what people need to understand, like when you go to the gym to create a transformation, if you're properly training for transformation, the workout is the stimulus, right? You don't transform your body. You don't lose weight, build muscle, tone up, whatever terminology you want to use. You do not do that in the gym. You stimulate transformation in the gym. Transformation only occurs when proper rest and nutrition are added, right? So you actually have to repair what you did in the gym to come back stronger, more fit, more healthy, right? And that starts with obviously feeding your body correctly and then resting your body correctly. So we talk a lot about sleep. We talk about stress management, and we start getting into a lot with the nervous system and teaching our clients to understand the differences in their autonomic nervous system from the stressed out, sympathetic state to the relaxed and peaceful and regenerative. This is how I actually transform my body, parasympathetic state, right?
Yeah.
So we go to the gym, it's a sympathetic state to stimulate transformation, but then we need to try to get our body to a parasympathetic state the rest of the day with how we work, how we breathe, how we drink, how we eat, how we think, and then of course sleep to create the actual transformation.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a holistic approach, right? And I love that. So essential. And I also want to talk about hormones, because I think that a lot of people are having an issue with a hormone imbalance,
Yes.
and for a multitude of reasons, right, or a myriad of reasons. But what can we do physically and even mentally to help with the hormone, to regulate hormones?
Yeah. So let's start with the working out side of things, because we see, and we do hormone testing. We have an advanced hormone testing process that we do. And believe me, the profiles that we get back are train wrecks. And
Ooh.
a lot of times we go back to the exercise. It's people who are doing way too much cardio.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I
So
would never have
yes,
expected that. Okay.
they're doing putting way too much stress on their bodies, right? And that's when one of the things that we see is we want to shift them into, and again, we're not villainizing cardio. It's the approach that you take, right?
Yeah.
But what we see is a lot of people, and there's a lot of programs out there, they talk about like being in this zone or this type of, these more like very popular, I won't name any names, boutique fitness studios that you know of, where they're really amping up the intensity. They might even be putting scores on the wall so you can compete against yourself or other people in the room. And they're driving this higher and higher and higher intensity. And what they're doing is they're just driving people's hormones into the tank, right?
Oh, wow.
And ultimately their metabolism as well. So the more is not better, better is better. So when we see that, one is we really need to get them to understand stress management, rest, shifting more towards, again, strength training. And we do a very specialized type of strength training that is for metabolism and hormones, as well as building muscle and burning fat. So the style of training is very important when it comes to hormones. You mentioned even thinking, how you think impacts your hormones. Because if we go back to, without getting the overly sciencey here, I don't know how familiar your listeners are with the nervous system and the parasympathetic and sympathetic that we just talked about.
Yep.
Well, if you're always in a sympathetic state, right, that's going to suppress your hormones.
Yep.
It suppresses fat burning. It also wastes muscle.
And I think a lot of people actually are in that perpetual state, right, where the sympathetic nervous system is activated because they're in fight or flight mode all the time, for the smallest things that have become, I mean, that's meant to be life-threatening situations, but we adopt that as a daily thing, and it's really had an impact, on our body.
So we do a lot with educating our clients about the nervous system,
Yeah.
and how to regulate the nervous system. So when it comes to when somebody does like a hormone test with us, they're going to get a protocol that is going to look at their diet, it's going to look at their rest, it's going to look at their exercise, it's going to look at their stress management and their supplementation. It's called the DRESS protocol.
Okay.
So DRESS.
Love
Diet, rest, exercise, stress management, and supplementation. We look at all of that to improve that hormone.
Okay, I
provide.
absolutely love that. I think we all could use a little bit of help and direction in that regard and to really know what's going on, right? Because it's really hard to figure it out ourselves, especially if we're all perpetually stressed out. It's like we can't even think straight sometimes, right? Can you tell the listeners and the viewers how they can find you and get more information on all the great work you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, we've been talking about the Transformation Club. I guess I'm the Chief Transformation Officer, fun name
Yeah,
of the Transformation Club. Our parent company is actually the Transformation Life.
yeah.
So we're actually in the process of rebuilding a website. Hopefully, actually be out next week. So the transformationlife.fitness is kind of like our hub site, or it will
Okay.
be our hub site as of about a week from today.
Mm-hmm.
So underneath that is where you can find the Transformation Club. You can always go directly to the transformationclub.fitness.
Okay.
For more of the training side, we do in person and we do virtual. Okay. And then we also have our podcast, which is the Transformation Show, which you can listen to on any major podcast platform.
Yep.
So those would probably be the three directions I would point people in to learn more.
Beautiful. I love it. Some incredible information. And I love that you have been on this mission to really help people to get inspired, to be motivated, to feel like, their best life is right there and to grab it, to reach out and to bring it in because, we all get bogged down by the stressors in life at times, but I think it's important to recognize that hey, it can be a shift. You can choose to move from
Mhm.
that state to a different state to really foster optimal health and fitness. It's a radical shift in your mindset, but in fact, it doesn't even have to be difficult. It's when you make the choice. I always find that it's like making the choice is the hardest part, right? But once you get there, once you're at that point, then you're 75% of the way already there. Things just, I think, start to fall in place when you take action. Remember that the universe rewards action. So remember that this is your mindset workout, and you want to take some incredible principles that Justin Yule has shared with us today. So, we want to bring in and, welcome that air into the body, deep belly breathing, feel it in your diaphragm. You want to exercise, of course. We want to rest. We want to get proper sleep, and definitely hydrate. Hydrate with water. That's going to really help to regenerate the cellular body. All of these combined will have incredible effect. So, Justin, I want to thank you for being on the Mindset Mentor today and sharing all this incredible
Pleasure.
knowledge. And I know it's your mission and purpose in life.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. One last thing I'll say, people, is don't try to do it all at once. Pick one thing and then do that. And then next week, add another thing.
Oh, I love that. Great advice because I think that we can really focus on the big picture. And when we just focus on the end goal without the other steps, it's like, ooh, it starts to feel impossible. But you're going to shape and mold your mindset to bring in your best life. So that's a wrap for today's Mindset Mentor, everyone. See you next Thursday at 3 p.m. for another mindset workout. Stay tuned. More coming up here on Sauga 960.